So.
Okay, good morning, Metro Manila. You're listening to GHP, and it's just the two of us today. So this is Vince, and right now we have Pau. What's up, Pau?
Yo, yo, yo. What's up?
What you been doing recently?
Uh, I've been reading a book.
Oh, a
uh,
book. What is this
yes,
book?
a book. Uh, I've been reading *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind* by uh, and I'm probably gonna mispronounce his name, Yuval Noah Harari.
Oh, oh.
Uh, yeah, he's he's a uh, Israeli,
Ah.
Jewish. Yeah, uh, one of those. I'm
Hmm.
sorry, but but it's basically a uh well, as the title says, it's a brief history of humankind, but it treats human history as like um sort of like he's coming at it from a perspective of of anthropology,
Hmm.
where basically Homo sapiens are a species of animal. He looks at Homo sapiens as a species of animal and charts the behavior of how Homo sapiens evolved.
Hmm.
So it's a very interesting book, uh, but I don't know like how much of it is actually like new information um or like groundbreaking information. It's like uh, but it's a very interesting look, and I like that it's a different kind of perspective from how we usually um, look at history and ourselves as a species. It does get a little sort of weird at the end, but the whole like the whole story that he presents from the beginnings of Homo sapiens, from when they started evolving into Homo sapiens up to the present day. Like he tells it interestingly, like in my point of view, and there's a lot of I think if I think if you're a Filipino and you just read some of what he writes is gonna be really really um
Relatable.
controversial. No,
Controversial.
it's
Okay.
controversial to
It's the
your point of
opposite.
view. Like yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like I had a whole bunch of things that he talks about. Like I got a whole bunch of highlights from from that book, which is
Uh,
interesting.
Maybe we'll talk about that sometime. But
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't think anybody else is gonna read it besides me.
yeah.
But
Anyway,
but
when you
if you
said
like books,
controversial, I
if
think
you like,
it's got something to do with religion or something. No.
um, well, it's controversial in the sense that it looks at religion from a very neutral point of view.
Ah.
So, like for example, he he specifically says like something about the history of religion, where religion is basically uh, a human invention
Hmm.
of which is like, I mean, that's technically correct.
Yeah.
Like I, I mean it is technically correct. Like we as Christians believe that that our faith comes from God. But
Hmm.
if you look at it from a neutral point of view, uh, like yeah, like a lot of the structure of our of our religion is very much human made,
Hmm. I see.
right? Like uh,
I kind of get the point. Yeah.
yeah.
It was still people that
So
made it. So yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's like it's not like he focuses mainly on like uh, any of the Abrahamic religions. Like he also discusses a bit about Buddhism and pagan religions and
Uh-huh.
everything, and how and it's actually very intrinsic to his discussion because um a lot he makes the point of where a lot of early civilization was built upon uh, a shared religion. Like if you look at, for example, the indigenous people in various areas of the world, like a group in a certain area will have the same uh, type of religion, but
Hmm.
if you go like a distance away, a different tribe may have a different kind of religion.
Hmm.
So I mean, yeah, that there's some sense to it. Uh, like if you go to a different tribe, when our societies were still developing in the tribal system, each area would have a different kind of religion.
Hmm.
It's like if you look at for example, um, the like here in the Philippines, like
Hmm.
the like each indigenous uh, community will have their own creation myths, or they'll have their own like set of go- uh, gods and goddesses, or their own pantheon.
Hmm.
Like like that's a reflection of how religion was a tool uh, for getting people to cooperate in a sense
Hmm.
and form a community.
Makes sense. Yeah, it did bring people together. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
what was
yeah,
the name of this book again?
Sapiens.
Sapiens.
Uh, yep, a brief history of humankind.
Ah, and where do you get this book?
Uh, you can find it. Thanks to our sponsor, National Bookstore. If you use the code GHP, you can get like 500 pesos off the hardcover.
We're not promising anything.
uh,
um,
but but I've been reading it on my Kindle.
ah,
So because honestly, it's very hard to travel when you have like a dozen books in your library.
oh yeah,
It's like,
I understand that.
like
You did know before MP3s, I used to bring cassettes in my backpack. There's like
oh yeah, yeah,
20 of them in it. So
oh yeah, 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 yep, yep, yep. Those are the days.
those were the
So
days.
yep, I would say like now an e-reader is one of the e-reader is one of my most favorite modern inventions of all time.
Yeah,
Like
technology evolves.
I know that I know that statement is very very grammatically incorrect, but I don't care. Like then
Uh,
aside from that, I've been playing two things: Ghost of Tsushima and Fairy Tale
oh, me
on the
too.
Switch.
Fairy Tale, yeah. Just got it. And
Oh yeah,
Atelier Ryza. So I'm gonna be
yeah,
playing one of those eventually.
yeah. So I've got Atelier Rise as well.
Atelier.
Uh, but Fairy Tale, yep. I'm very happy with Fairy Tale.
Anyway, if you're planning to get Fairy Tale, I prefer you get the or read the book first, the comic book, or watch the anime first, because it kind of puts you in the middle part of the whole story of Fairy Tale. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
for
guess we'll do a I guess we'll do a separate uh, topic on it.
yep, yep.
It's
Anyway,
but it's yeah, it's basically very much fan servicey RPG.
Fan service indeed.
And and by fan service, I don't just mean like the fan service that most people think of. Like it's it's fan service in the literal sense.
You're serving the
Like a lot.
fans.
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of the things that they do in gameplay
Very
are
true to the show and stuff.
direct, yeah, are directly referencing the original works.
Yep.
So fans will have a lot to look forward to.
The real meaning of fan service, basically.
Yeah, yeah. It's legit fan service.
Legit fan service. Okay, recently I've been playing Fist of the North Star in mobile, the revive. So it's currently doing the Virtua Fighter event right now. You can get Akira Yuki in your party. I'm not sure if Pai is actually there, but I think I saw her in the commercial. So yeah, Fist of the North Star revive. One Punch Man, for some strange reason, I started playing it on mobile as well. And yeah, Honkai
Is there
Impact.
only one? Is
Hmm?
there only One Punch Man game?
There's like several of them. The one I'm currently playing is Road to Hero version 2.0, I think. Yeah.
Huh?
So
Is there a different version? Like you can get Road to Hero version 1 separately?
I think so. There's a lot of them in the Google Play Store. So whatever. Uh, what else have I been doing? Yeah, Fairy Tail. I just started that. Actually, literally just started it. Still playing Ultimate Alliance 3. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. It's,
Original Avengers game.
the legit Avengers game with X-Men and Fantastic Four. Yeah.
and Moon Knight. And Moon Knight.
Moon Knight, especially Moon Knight. And if you like Blade, yeah, he's there too. Marshall Ali, yeah. Not the Wesley Snipes
So
version. Whatever.
so is that gonna be like Cottonmouth gets revived as Blade?
Maybe. You'll never know. We'll see what happens. Coming soon. Oh, since we're already on the topic, let's go straight to the news because one of the news here is kind of related to that. So anyway, let's get started with this one. By the way, Rocksteady just announced Suicide Squad game, so
Yeah.
that's kind of wow.
And the image that they showed on Twitter was like the Suicide Squad logo. As it um looks like a
X.
target, like a
Yeah.
reticle.
Yep.
It looks like an aiming reticle, and it's aimed at Superman's head.
Yep.
So
So to
it's
those
like
who are
doubly hype.
actually watching on Facebook or at YouTube, you'll see you're seeing it right now. It's actually the tweet from Rocksteady Studios, which has Superman on it. So it's basically Suicide Squad with a touch of Superman. So uh,
Yeah.
anyway, more announcements will be given by Rocksteady. It's a part of DC Fandom. It's actually an event by DC at August 22. So we'll be waiting for that one. They really did a great job with the Batman games. So let's see what they do with this one.
Oh yeah.
And I
Oh yeah.
did like the choice of roster they did because they instead of doing a single Batman game or something, they went with the Suicide Squad, which is more diverse. You got more since there's more characters in the Suicide Squad, probably more modes of play and stuff. So yeah, I like that decision.
Yeah, and I like the way they hyped this up because uh they showed a poster. Like if it was Batman on that poster, I'd be like, yeah, that's cool. And especially since the Suicide Squad is usually tied to like linked to Batman,
Yep.
so it'll be like the obvious thing. But but because they put in Superman there, like, oh, oh, that what does this mean? Like, so does it imply that that the Suicide Squad is gonna hunt the entire Justice League? Like,
Mm.
that's a that's a very interesting theory that I have going in my head, and I'm probably hyping myself up too much at this point.
But that's another story for another day. August 22. Watch out for it. Anyway, we'll never know because it does look like Superman's kind of like a boss material or something. So yeah, challenging last boss if you ask me. But they said something like, I don't know, maybe there'll come a time that you'll be able to use Superman. I don't know. DLC
I don't know.
probably.
I
but
don't know.
but yeah, um, our minds play games with us, so we're hyping it too much beyond what it's supposed to be. So, anyway, for now,
What
it's
what
just a
what would
poster.
be what would be really crazy uh is if, like, say Microsoft announced at DC fandom that they'd be buying Warner Brothers Interactive, and so basically the Suicide Squad game is gonna be exclusive on Xbox and PC.
Yeah, that's kind of like a
And
Sony move.
well, they haven't announced anything yet,
Yeah,
so I mean,
no
the,
promises.
yeah. So, so that would be a really funny move in light of what Sony did with
Um,
the Avengers, which we'll probably discuss later.
yep, later. So that's the first one. Next one is Mulan will now be available to Disney Plus subscribers at a premium price. So
Uh,
yeah, CEO Bob Chapek, which is now the new CEO of Disney, trial by fire, basically. He became the CEO of Disney during a pandemic. So yeah, great stuff. Anyway, he said during the company's earnings calls, which was just recently, that it was important for find new avenues of distribution during the pandemic, and in the US, Canada, New Zealand, everywhere that has Disney Plus, they will be giving Mulan Premier Access for $29.99 or $30, rounded off. So basically, it's just a one-time thing. It's not a new. It's nothing new, not a new business model. I think they're just doing this because they've delayed
mm,
this movie like I don't know 3 times already. So
I think they're just doing it just to test the waters. They're saying, "Oh, this will be a one-time thing," but
yeah,
so that if it succeeds, then they'll keep doing it. If it doesn't succeed, they'll not do it again.
yeah. So in some way, what Bob Chapek said regarding it's a one-time thing, it's kind of like a BS thing. It's
Yeah,
complete bullshit. If it actually works, we'll probably see, I don't know, Black Widow. But
yeah,
you'll never know. Anyway, the theater experience is way different compared to seeing it in your own living room. But
yeah.
$30 is good if there's like 50 of you in your family or something, or like
Well, I like to
mhm.
think of it as $30 is about the price of what you pay for Disney Blu-ray.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, it's close to a Disney
if it
Blu-ray.
if
Yeah,
yeah, so if it's like if you're going to pay $30 to watch Mulan in your home, for the price of a Blu-ray at at the time of release, then I think that's a bit more acceptable, especially because that differentiates it from the theaters where you go to the theaters, and I mean for like to put it into perspective, like if you
hmm
go to the movie theaters in the US, like you pay uh maybe $10 to $12 for a matinee
Uh huh.
showing.
Yep.
Um, and then about $15 if you're doing it in the for a normal ticket. Uh, so like there's
Hmm.
gonna be of course a significant price difference, but then that helps sort of w- the that helps sort of uh soothe it over with the cinemas. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna show it on Disney Plus, but it's gonna cost more than if you bought a ticket.
Yeah. But
But
the
uh,
difference. Hmm.
well, on the other hand, there's like $15 per person. So if you have like two people going to watch Mulan, then that's
That's $30.
already the price. So it, it'll come to the same amount. Although you don't get the popcorn smell if you
Yeah.
watch at home.
Unless you make your own popcorn. So if you're really
Yeah.
good at making popcorn, then yeah, go ahead, or just buy something like a Blasto butter, Jolly Time Blasto butter or something. Not sponsored, by the way. And by the way, this $30 compared to watching it in the movie theater, uh, it's not a one-time watching thing. You already have it permanently on your. It's kind of like DLC if you put it on a video game term. So it's forever there. So basically, you just bought the movie in some strange way, and you can just watch it over and over and over again. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like yeah, so it's like exactly like buying sort of like buying a Blu-ray.
Yep, and especially if you have kids, kids
Oh
actually watch
yeah,
a movie like
a
10
hundred
times.
times.
Well, yeah, 10 times a day or something. So yeah, that's definitely a bargain if you have kids and they really love Mulan. So yeah, great stuff. So anyway, Disney related, we go to the next subject, which is there looks like there are speculations that they're launching in Southeast Asia soon, 2021, next year.
What? What?
So recently, it was revealed that Disney channels in Singapore will no longer be available on their local TV networks like StarHub and Singtel. This actually leads to the speculation that Disney Plus would be launching soon in the country when their official statement said to our viewers, subscribe to Disney Channel, Disney XD, Disney Junior, and Go Disney on Singtel and StarHub. We are disappointed to confirm that Disney channels have been removed from our platforms. We worked hard to come to a fair agreement, and despite their decision, we will continue efforts to make our content available in Singapore. So, another case is Disney also had a careers website in Singapore where it shows that they're offering staff positions for Disney Plus. So,
Mm.
it's coming pretty soon. So if Singapore is
I see.
already involved, so will all of Southeast Asia probably, because one of the positions is something like a uh, public speaker. What do you call it? Relations, public relations manager for Southeast Asia. So yeah, it's coming. So coming
Yeah.
soon.
Can I get on that? Uh,
Well, just go to their Disney Careers website if you have plans to work on Singapore. Yeah, why not? You've
um,
been to Malaysia, man. Malaysia. You've been to
yeah,
Indonesia.
but Singapore is a different thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a different thing,
Like
lah.
it's oh la
La la la la.
people there so uptight la.
Oh well. Anyway, regarding that, that's actually it for the news. Unless you have new stuff as well to announce.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Um,
So let's start with the most controversial one. Some people love it,
oh,
some people hate it. So it's actually Spider-Man on Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. So
yeah.
let's actually start with that one, because what happened here is when Avengers was announced, basically they announced it for PC, for Xbox, and for the PS4. Then, as of recently, uh, Crystal Dynamics was the one who tweeted it, I think, that they
Yep.
are excited to announce that your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man will be joining the Avengers exclusively on the PS4. So, um, that didn't make people really happy about it because I don't know. uh,
uh, you know, like I I I have a PS4 and I can play the Avengers with Spider-Man, but even this like just rubs me the wrong way.
yeah.
Like uh I don't know if this is the right way to go because um I mean ugh. uh so like my thoughts on this are like um if this was like something that uh Sony said, okay, we're gonna fund this new character and everything
Mhm.
that's gonna be, just and we want you to only make it on the PlayStation, available on the PlayStation. Uh, that would be like weird because then you'd have to say, okay, that means I have to make a specific version of the Avengers that's only available on PlayStation platforms and one that's available on the other platforms.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you also have to make sure that the other platforms aren't affected by the changes to uh that you're introducing by adding Spider-Man. So
Yep.
that means in the main story you can't have Spider-Man do be in a major role
Yep.
because that would affect the other platforms.
Exactly.
Uh, so then that means that he's completely optional.
Yeah.
And if
Mhm.
he's completely optional, then it won't be a big deal if he's exclusive to PlayStation. But then why are they making it a big deal that he's on an exclusive on the PlayStation? So it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
so so it's kind of a contradictory thing. And the thing that annoys me the most is that the way they worded it. You know how you know how sometimes you read something and then you just know it's the statement that they make is just dripping with bullshit. Like like um like for example they said that this was only possible on the PlayStation because of Marvel and Sony's unique relationship.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? What unique relationship? That that mean so my theory is that this was probably one of the things that Sony asked for
Mhm.
uh, in return for in return for Peter Parker staying in the MCU, which
Probably.
is like okay. Um, and then and then they have and then like IGN Japan was it that
Yep.
asked Crystal Dynamics, uh, so what about those fans who don't have who really want to play as Spider-Man? And they said, well, you can play as Spider-Man on the PlayStation. Like, mm-hmm, you know,
That's not a really good answer,
it-
in my opinion.
so yeah. So even though like, and the problem and the additional problem is that every time they show the Avengers game, it's not looking very good. It's like it reminds me a lot of Anthem
Hmm.
when it when they were first showing Anthem, and I was like, I really wanted to like Anthem because it was BioWare doing a kind of Destiny-ish kind of game,
Yep.
and I joined the beta for Anthem, and I was like flying around and everything. But even then, I was like, oh, okay, like this is not like working out as well as I thought it would be. And every time I look at the Avengers, when I look at the gameplay that they show, it's the same feeling I get from Anthem, where it's like I want this to be good, but he with what they're showing, I don't know if it's going in the direction that it should be going.
Anyway, in regards to the exclusives, I don't really mind if there's an exclusive game specifically on the system. That's actually a business
Mm,
decision, and that's fine. That's what sells that system. I get it. So
mm,
basically, some people are actually comparing this one to Ultimate Alliance on the Switch. The thing with Ultimate
uh-huh.
Alliance on the Switch is nobody else wants that game. That's why Nintendo actually funded it. So
And, and
that's
it's not like you can buy a different version of Ultimate Alliance 3
yep.
on say the PlayStation 4 because it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Like
that's the thing. So this one is a different situation. It's multi-platform, but
yeah,
basically, if you're not on the PlayStation, you're not getting the whole experience that the PlayStation
yeah,
people are getting. So it's kind of like being punished for not owning a PlayStation in some way. So
yeah, yeah. So this reminds me of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare situation.
mhm.
Like all the DLCs were exclusive to Sony for like 6 months.
Yep.
Uh, and then but the funny thing, oh no, that or was that Destiny? Was I
Mhm.
thinking of Destiny? I might be thinking of Destiny.
Destiny. That's Destiny.
Uh,
Yep.
yeah, where all the DLCs uh, um, were not available on other platforms,
Yep.
which kind of sucked, and it also sucked for the PlayStation players because the guy Sur
Mhm.
who sells you the loot, like he sells the same loot across all platforms.
Mhm.
So since he sells the same loot across all platforms, if you're on a PlayStation and you want the PlayStation exclusive loot, you can't get it from him because he has to sell the same thing across all platforms. So,
Mhm.
so how? So the only way you're gonna get it is from random drops. So which
Yeah.
is not quite as exciting as
Yeah.
getting it.
Actually, Sony can do this if it was just cosmetic. Like there's a special costume for Spider-Man, but Spider-Man will be available everywhere. But he'll only look this way on a PlayStation. That's fine. I
Yeah,
don't really care. But regarding the situation right now, where one character, especially the most beloved character in that franchise, is locked out on one system, that's kind of
yeah,
a shitty move. It's a good business decision. I can't really go against that, but it's a really in
it's a
terms of
shitty
etiquette.
decision.
In terms of etiquette, that's
Yeah,
really shitty.
yeah. Well, that's like going against delicadeza to use a
Yeah.
to use a Filipino term, and it's like um it's like people are eventually gonna compare this to. I've seen people compare it to like the Soul Calibur 2 situation before,
Oh
where
no.
each console had its own guest character,
At least
or
that
the GameCube
one,
had Link.
yeah. At least
Yeah,
that one was each one had an exclusive character, so it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
that
exactly.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So each character, each platform had its own special character, which okay, that's fine. Because that means that okay, that means you get a very unique experience on your specific platform, and that's fine.
yep.
And then there are people who are going to say, oh, this is like the starting thing. Well, the Starlink thing where you get Fox McCloud and
Hmm.
bonus missions on the Switch. Well, I mean, to me that's fine because Fox McCloud doesn't have any business being on other platforms
Yep.
because he's a Nintendo property.
And
So
I think it was
I mean,
the devs also that actually wanted him there. So
I
it's
mean, yeah.
that's different.
Well, I mean, Crystal Dynamics could have wanted Spider-Man on it, but
Oh yeah.
uh, but the thing that irks me the most is that Spider-Man doesn't has no business being just exclusive on the PlayStation.
Yep.
Right? Like he's a Marvel property. He's supposed to be in a fair game for any Marvel game,
Yeah,
right?
he's only
Uh,
exclusive to Sony in terms of film rights, but
yeah,
other than that,
yeah,
yeah.
and before people like point out the oh that there's that Spider-Man thing on the PS4. I mean, Insomniac was the one who chose like Spider-Man
Hmm.
for their game, and they chose to like just release it on the PS4. So that was completely Insomniac's like prerogative. It's not
Yep.
something like it's not a situation where Spider-Man is a Sony character. Like
Although I'd actually
um
accept it if this is Insomniac Spider-Man specifically. Yeah, it would be
yeah
exclusive, but
yeah yeah, so that also leads back into the question like if this was Insomniac Spider-Man, like the specific character,
mhm.
then I'd be more accepting of it. Like, okay,
Yep.
that's okay, but it still sucks. But that's fine.
Hmm.
But it's not like, but the Spider-Man in this game is specific to that version of the Avengers, so
Yeah.
it's not Insomniac Spider-Man either. And
Yeah.
it's not. It's like um, and if we go back, it's like in Mortal Kombat 9, was it?
Uh-huh.
Where Kratos was in Mortal Kombat 9,
Yep, yep.
but he wasn't in but Kratos wasn't in the other versions of Mortal Kombat 9. I mean, that's fine because Kratos is a Sony character.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's okay. That's actually
yeah, so
fine.
like
It's fine.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Hmm.
And then if you go to but if you uh look at Street Fighter Cross Tekken,
Yep.
where they made like five Sony exclusive characters,
Yep.
like uh, Kuro and Toro,
Yep.
who are like Japanese PlayStation mascots. That's fine
That's fine. That's
because
fine.
those are Sony characters.
Hmm.
Cole McGrath from Infamous,
Yeah, that's fine.
he's in there. That's fine because he's a Sony character.
But the
But then
other
you
two,
have Pac-Man
yep,
and Bad Box Art Mega Man, who are exclusive to the
PlayStation
PlayStation.
only.
Like they have no business being exclusive to like PlayStation because they're owned by Capcom and Namco. So that's just a bad form. So yeah, so this just so like personally, Avengers was not looking that good to begin with.
Hmm.
Even though I really want to like it because I like Crystal Dynamics,
Hmm.
but uh, but um, but this just like sort of rubs me the wrong way.
But that Crystal Dynamics isn't actually the Crystal Dynamics from the previous generations, so I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe.
well, I think it's still the same. Like a lot of the, I think a lot of the people who worked on Tomb Raider are still there,
Hmm. Okay. Well, still
but
bad business.
except except the writer. Like,
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And that's not all. It's not only
uh,
Spider-Man. They also announced recently that all PlayStation Plus members will get exclusive DLs. I mean, loot, exclusive loot only on PlayStation. So there's
what
that's another
another Destiny
gut
kind of thing.
punch. Yeah, it's another gut punch. So
Uh,
basically, putting it simply, if it's a third party exclusive. It's kind of like a third-party game which is multi-platform. I really prefer if consoles kind of keep their hands off it. Like, let them make their game. Uh, let them make it as it is, and
Yeah.
yeah. Although
So,
there
so
was also a different situation before, where let's say there was the Wii and there was the Xbox
mhm,
360. Let's put it in Force Awakens. No, Force Unleashed. Force Unleashed was made by different devs, but it's under the same name. So
mhm,
two different games. If it was two different games from different devs, I wouldn't mind the exclusivity on one of the consoles, because
mhm.
basically it's completely different,
A completely different.
completely
Yeah,
different game.
and it would have validated like the fact that okay, he's Spider-Man's in there, so he probably plays a bigger role in the story
Yep.
and everything.
Yep. So they
But
can actually integrate the exclusive character into the main story, which is kind of like what happened with Starlink. So Fox
well,
McCloud
yeah,
kind of had a big role. It's a minor role, but in some way he had his own missions. So you can involve the whole Starlink crew on it. So this is kind of like what's happening with the Spider-Man thing. So maybe they'll integrate it in a small way that it doesn't affect the other platforms. But if they're going to go, what do you call this? Where all consoles go into one network, mul-
yeah,
multiplayer,
crossplay.
crossplay. I don't think this will work well. So I don't think
Yeah,
crossplay will be a thing
mhm,
regarding the PlayStation.
yeah, and I think it's a very telling for this kind of practice that the moment that Bungie sort of divorced themselves from Activision with
Mhm.
Destiny 2, they stopped selling the PlayStation exclusive loot,
Yeah.
or basically they announced like from here on that there won't be like platform exclusive items at all.
Yeah, platform
Uh,
exclusive items on a third party game is which is multi-platform. It's kind of shitty. It's a shitty move. Etiquette wise,
it,
yeah.
well, well platform exclusive items that have no business being platform exclusive.
Although Xbox wasn't really what do you call this? They did it. They actually did it before. Ultimate
Oh
Alliance
yeah,
2, I think they had eight
yeah,
exclusive characters on it. So
yep,
yeah, they're
yep,
they
and
were
yeah,
just as shitty before, but I think they're changing it now.
yeah, it's like yeah, they used to be like that before,
Hmm.
but now they're not, and it's like completely different leadership now.
Yep.
So like I'm more inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt that they won't do it again.
Yeah,
They-
they could, but
well,
you know,
they could, but yeah, but they're less likely to do it now than Sony.
yep. And I
So
think
it
they
is
also experienced the backlash of what happened before. But
yeah.
Sony seems to be, I don't know, they did it several times already, so I think they're kind of
Uh,
numb.
yeah,
So,
and I think this is tying back into the like the whole discussion about how Sony's back on top, so they're getting back into the arrogant Sony mode.
yeah,
I,
that's something I
so
didn't like about Sony. Basically, PS2 era, they were kind of nice. PS1 era, they were trying really hard
yeah,
to get their console out, and apparently they were very successful until the PS2 era. Then when it came to the PS3 era, yeah, the
yeah,
arrogance, but they kind of failed in that era, basically, because
yeah.
first of all, the price they put it in $600, I think,
It's
release.
so, but it's so good you'll want to get two jobs to pay for it. That's what Sony said.
Yep. And the people that are saying just buy a PlayStation, that does not work. That does
It's
not
like
work in other people's situations.
yeah, it's like if I have like enough, like if I have enough monthly budget for gaming that I can only afford like one platform, then it should be my choice to choose which platform is best for what I want.
Yep.
And like I get it if I get if I choose to say go with a Switch, for example, okay, the Switch is all I can afford. Switch is what I'm gonna focus on. I can forgive that I won't be able to get every game, but I'm just gonna go with what games I have,
Hmm.
and that like that's fine. I mean, and then if they announce, for example, that uh, what's a good multi-platform game um like for example Diablo 3. Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
with Diablo 3.
Yeah. Diablo 3.
And they say, oh, Diablo 3 is gonna have like a character class that's only exclusive on the uh let's say Xbox.
Hmm.
Like the Xbox is gonna get a an exclusive class called the Executioner. Let's go with the X with the X theme here. Executioner, and it's gonna be like one whole character class that's only available on the Xbox, even though Diablo 3 is available on basically all the platforms. So you're basically telling me that okay, because like it was a decision that had nothing to do with what my decision was, like because I said, oh, okay, Diablo 3 is available on Switch. I want to play Diablo 3. I'm gonna get Diablo 3 on the Switch. But then, um, I I'm paying for the exact same game as
Hmm.
all the other platforms, but because there's this exclusive class on the Xbox, I'm actually paying to get less content. Is how it appears.
Yeah.
Like
The thing here
I'm
is
buying the same product.
yeah, the thing with the Diablo 3, well, basically for the Switch, it was released way later compared to the other versions. So um, I think all the exclusives are there in some way. Well, uh,
Well, you get Ganon transmog.
yeah. So in a way, that's fine. I don't really mind as long as they don't crossplay. But basically, getting all the game at the same day, which is
Mm.
multi-platform, that's the hard thing, because basically, I heard a story about a guy that actually bought Destiny for Xbox, and his friend that actually bought Destiny for the PlayStation, and he had all the new stuff, and the guy
Mm-hmm.
who did the Xbox is like he's like on the vanilla mode of Destiny. There's no cherry on top. So I don't know. It's I really don't agree with it. PlayStation fans will actually agree with it way better. They love it. And now they're mocking the
Well,
Xbox fans basically because that's what they do best. Oh
yeah,
my god.
that's all they can do. That's that's all they can do.
Yeah, basically, and I'm reading all the comments usually, so I know how it feels to be mocked. Anyway,
Uh,
this game doesn't really strike me because first of all, I'm a Switch player, so I won't be getting this game either way. Although I have a
well,
PC,
you see,
but
yeah.
I don't know. It does not. I don't think this is my type of game. Although I love the Avengers, I love Marvel. Uh, this is not the type of game I actually like. So yeah,
Well, I was
multiplayer.
hoping it.
Mhm.
I was hoping it would be like when I first heard that it was going to be by Crystal Dynamics. I was hoping for a linear single player game, kind of like what they did with Tomb
Tomb Raider.
Raider.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hyped for that. But then they said it's gonna be like a live service kind of game. Like, uh-oh. I was like, uh-oh.
Live service. Gotta
It's
love that.
this gives me Anthem flashbacks.
Anthem flashbacks. Never played Anthem though. Although I did get that EA thing. I never got to install it. So yeah.
It's it's basically What If Destiny, but Iron Man.
Hmm. I like Iron Man.
So
Actually, I never cared
yeah.
about Iron Man before.
So the concept is that's the concept, but the
Mhm.
execution is like, yeah,
Hmm.
it's really meh. It's really meh. It's kind of like the worst parts of MMOs, except
So
it's like,
yeah.
Iron Man. It's
So
like
mhm.
it's saying something when Warframe feels better to play.
Yeah. Warframe. Someone among us will really approve that approve that statement. Anyway, regarding if Sony is actually anti-consumer, what do you think about that one?
Um, yeah, maybe.
The thing here
Yes.
is, yes, they're not. Actually, they're not anti-consumer if you own a PlayStation, but
Yeah,
basically,
they're like anti non-Sony consumers.
yeah. So they're
So I don't
very
know.
pro-consumer when it comes to their own platform. So yeah, they're pro-consumer in a
Uh,
specific aspect.
not. I don't think I necessarily agree with that because they did come out with the whole like the Dual Shock 5, the Dual Shock 4 will not work on the PS5 and stuff, and we can't promise that it'll work. Uh, and it'll only work on the supported PS4 games. I'm like, well, but they also said that certain controllers like PS4 fight sticks and steering wheels and flight sticks, the joysticks
Mhm.
for flight simulators, they will work on the PS5.
Hmm.
So that like begs the question: if like PS5 fight stick, like a joystick
Mhm.
works, if a PS4 joystick works on the PS5, then why would a DualShock 4 not work with a PS5?
I have no idea what they were thinking. Anyway,
So yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
so I'm not absolutely convinced. Like I can see the logic. Like, oh yeah, because probably because the PS5 will have like the new DualSense features, the haptic triggers, and
Mhm.
all that jazz, which newer PS5 games will take advantage of. But then, if you ask me, for example, Resident Evil Village
Mhm.
will also appear on like the Xbox platforms,
Yep.
right? Um, so are you telling me that this game, which will work on an Xbox, which has I'll be honest, a more limited controller compared to the PS5, this game, which works on that platform, will not allow me to play using a DualShock 4?
At least
So
they should just at least remove the features from the PS4 controller, but it would still work as a
uh,
plain old controller. That would actually
yeah, yeah,
do better. But saying that it won't work at all, it's kind of, I don't know.
yeah. And it's like and if you're like somebody out there will probably say, oh, but that's the way it's been forever. Like you can't you can't use your PS2 controllers on your PS3, for example. Like Yeah. Oh, okay. For like one, we 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 went through the whole platform change things.
Yep.
Like we like we were there when the family computer became the Super Famicom,
Yep.
and we couldn't use our controllers there. So just shut up. and 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 two, Sony actually allowed the PS1 controller to work on the PS2.
Yep.
The only difference is that like the analog buttons didn't work,
Yeah, because
which
analog.
yeah, and it's like the analog buttons were used in games like Metal Gear Solid,
Hmm.
where if you hold square, it's like you raise your gun, and if you let go of square, you fire your weapon. But if you let go of square slowly, it you lower your gun. So, but you couldn't do that with a PS1 controller. So I mean,
Understandable. Yeah.
yeah, that's understandable because
Hmm.
you don't have the additional features. But then there was still a way to like do that. Like you could like go into the inventory and do something. But the point is like you could use your controller on the newer. You could use an older generation controller on your newer hardware as long as you were cognizant of the idea that it's not going to support all the added features.
Yep. Another
And
example is actually the Switch. The Switch right
yeah,
now can still use GameCube controllers. So, and it's
yeah, with
just
an
not
adapter
for Smash. It's actually used on driving games because basically the Pro controller doesn't. It's their triggers
doesn't
are
have
actually
analog.
digital, so it's not analog.
Yep,
GameCube's
yep,
controllers, however, is analog, so you can actually use those in driving games like Grid. I believe Grid has
yep,
that feature. And
yep.
what's the other one? Trials, the one from
Uh,
Ubisoft.
yeah, I think it was Trials.
Yeah. So
Um,
so yeah, backward compatibility of hardware. That's actually great. So saying that
yeah,
actually the difference between the Dual Sense and the Dual Shock, I think it's just the features, but it's the same button layout. So
yeah,
I don't know what's so hard about using a PS4 controller on the newest system.
yeah.
So yeah.
And but I won't give them too much like um I won't give them too much crap for that one uh because if we're going to do a strict comparison, like the Wii U controllers don't work on the Switch,
Oh yeah,
nor
definitely.
nor nor do the Wii remotes work on the Switch.
Exactly.
But in that case, you sort of understand because the Wii remotes require the sensor bar, which the Switch cannot actually accommodate.
Yep.
So I think in that sense, you kind of accept, like your brain sort of accepts that okay, it's not going to work because the Switch doesn't actually have the requisite hardware
Hmm.
to make it work in the first place. But it's like, but from the Wii to the Wii U, like all the accessories actually carried over. So
Yeah.
that was one, except for the GameCube controllers. But you could get an adapter for that.
Yep.
Um, so and honestly, this is just because like the reason this is a big deal is because Microsoft went ahead and just said, "Oh, all those Xbox One controllers you have, that'll all work on the Series X, and
Hmm.
then the Series X controllers will also work on the old Xbox One." So yeah, that's that's an so actually it's Microsoft's fault that we're all complaining about Sony,
Yeah.
which is actually which is actually kind of genius. Which is actually kind of genius when I think about it.
So yeah, in the end, yeah, Sony's gonna get Spider-Man. So I don't know. Xbox players might get the X-Men or something.
Um, yeah,
Whatever.
Xbox and PC players get the X Men because
They got an
the
X.
X. Yeah, because the X works on for Xbox players, and the racial superiority works for PC players.
Now that I think about it, yeah, the Brotherhood, racial
Yeah,
superiority.
yeah,
Yeah.
Homo superior, man. Yeah, Homo superior master race.
Yep. There you go. So anyway, let's move on. Actually, this would be a better topic if Alan was here or Carlson, but apparently they're not available right now. So let's go straight to Ghost of Tsushima. Uh, so
Oh yeah.
I just want to know your thoughts on this one. It seems like it's a really good game, according to a lot of people I know. So let's
Mm,
let's get your perspective on it.
hmm. So it's a. So I'm gonna get the. Uh, I in some way I'm glad that neither of them are here, so they won't be able to rub it in my face. But I think it's overall a good. If I just look at the game itself, it's a good game. It's far better than Infamous, which
Mhm.
I didn't actually like that much.
Mhm.
Um, but it also suffers from the same problems as Infamous, which I'll get to later.
Sure.
Uh, because for every good thing that like there's a lot of good things in here, but I feel like every one of those good things that I found, it's like it has to have like, oh, this is good, but it's
There's a
always
condition.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So I'm gonna start with the
Let's start with the
uh
pros, the good
yeah the
stuff.
the pros. Yeah,
Mhm.
the pros. Um, there's a lot of it, like, to set expectations. Like, Ghost of Tsushima is an open world game.
Mhm.
It's a it's a Sony open world game.
Mhm.
Like like you know how people are saying that, oh, Ubisoft has this like formula where it's a Ubisoft open world game,
Mhm.
that that whether you're playing Assassin's Creed or Far Cry or something else, like, it feels like a Ubisoft open world game. So this feels like a Sony open world game.
Mhm.
So if you played Horizon, get you can kind of get the same feel, same
Mhm.
vibe. Uh, but it does a lot of really clever things with it being an open world. Uh, for example, like, one of the things that I absolutely did not like about Breath of the Wild was
Mhm.
there were a lot of shrines
Uh huh.
that that you had to find just by like stumbling on them out in the open world.
Yep.
And I was like, what would be really nice is if you went to a certain village and then you talked to an NPC and they gave you, okay, I've heard rumors of a very of a suspicious place somewhere in this area, and locals are afraid to go near it
Mhm.
because at night they can see something glowing there,
Mhm.
and that'll be your like clue, like, oh, something glowing, that probably means it might be a shrine, because
Mhm.
shrines are these glowing structures.
Mhm.
And then and then it gets marked on your map, and then you go, and then you find a shrine by following the what the NPC said.
Mhm.
So to me, that's like, oh, that's a very clever thing of how you want players to find things and yet not be handheld over to wherever they want to, the thing that you want to lead them to. And I was
Um,
surprised because, well, I'm sorry to all the Breath of the Wild fans, but I don't like that there are too many shrines there. But um, but if so, I was surprised, but I was thinking that when I finished Breath of the Wild, and then Ghost of Tsushima does the exact same thing.
mhm.
Like, you go to a village, you'll see someone with a speech balloon over their head, and then
Mhm.
you go up to them and then you talk to them, and they'll say something like, uh, uh, "I've heard rumors of something something in this forest." Like for example, I've heard rumors that there are people disappearing in this forest. Uh, and then Jin Sakai is the main character,
Mhm.
so Jin will be like, uh, well, it's a time of war. People will disappear, and the villager will be like, oh, but even the Mongols and the natives uh, stay away from that place.
Mhm.
Okay, like I'll go check it out, and then you go check it out,
Mhm.
right? So to me, that was like, wow, that's very smart design.
Mhm.
Like it marks a point of interest on your map, but then you have a sort of motivation to visit that area of the map, even though you haven't been there yet. So to me, that was like very interesting. It helps open up the map
Yeah,
by cutting down on aimless wandering.
that's actually good. Through interaction, you get more stuff through your map.
Yeah.
I think they actually did that in the new Assassin's Creeds, the Odyssey and Origins, I think.
Ah, did they?
Although,
Did they?
yeah, I think Odyssey they did that already. When you talk with someone and they or you hear a conversation, something pops up in your map. So
Yeah.
I think that's where they're headed now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, eh, and then it also happens like if you're sometimes you're walking along the road or riding your horse down the road,
Hmm.
and then you see um and then you see like bandits attacking group of villagers, for example.
Hmm.
So you go down, you save the villager, you talk to the villager, and they say, "Oh, thank you for rescuing me. Like, where did they kidnap you from? They kidnapped me from this village,
Hmm.
and the
Like
bandits are using it for a
headquarters.
hideout."
Hmm.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, "Okay, leave it to me. I'll clear the bandits from your village." And then it marks like, okay, there's a bandit outpost in this area of the map without you having. So it feels organic in a
Hmm.
way that the game sort of encourages you to explore,
Hmm.
and then you get and then y- and it does that without doing the whole Ubisoft like eagle vision thing where you climb up a tower and then you use eagle vision to mark all the points of interest. So I think that was a very clever way to do it.
Hmm.
But
But
but you like the aforementioned villager that you rescued,
hmm.
and then you ask, where did they rescue from? They
Hmm.
rescued me from this village,
Hmm.
and the village is on the other side of the island, and you're like, how the heck did you get here from all the way over there? It's like, and I'm just in the first part, in the first island,
Hmm.
and it's like the first island is pretty big. It's
Hmm.
like, so it's like on the other side of the island. So like they kidnap you all the way from the southern part of the island and brought you over here to the northern coast because why exactly? So it doesn't. So sort of it breaks it breaks the illusion
Hmm.
that, well, what? So they were just about to kill you, which means you ran away from somewhere, and that somewhere is like it's like 500 kilometers away or something.
Oh,
Like,
that's not a problem because basically, you know, Bolo Young, the guy from the the guy that they usually beat up in kung fu movies, the big guy.
yeah, yeah.
He actually swam from China to Hong Kong to escape China. So
But like depends from where in China, because Hong Kong is just there.
I think he's a mainlander, so I don't know.
I I, I mean the mainland could have been Kowloon. Like the Kowloon sign is attached to the mainland. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, those are the stories. If it's from Anyway, if it's from Shenzhen to Hong Kong, that's a pretty good swimming distance.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, could have fast traveled. The peasant fast traveled, and the bandits fast traveled as well.
Oh, they may have the capability. If you can fast travel, everyone can. So yeah.
Yeah, and then um and also like it doesn't use like the old timey Ubisoft tower. Speaking since we brought it up, like
Yep.
it doesn't use the Ubisoft tower setup, which I was really frustrated because Horizon Zero Dawn does the same thing,
Hmm.
but here it's like you don't open up the map by going to a Ubisoft tower and then surveying your whatever
Hmm.
your surroundings. But here you open it up but here it operates like on a fog of war system
Hmm.
where the map opens up by you going to that area of the map.
It's
So
like
it's like,
Warcraft in some
yeah, it's like,
way.
yeah, yeah, like the fog of war's mechanic.
Hmm.
I mean, to me that makes a lot more sense because you're essentially mapping out the area based on where you've been,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yep.
like, okay, I saw this village, and this village is on this area of the map, and now it's like in my mind, I'm making a map. So based on where I've been, like these are the landmarks. So it to me that makes a lot more sense than just climbing a tower and then surveying your surroundings
Yep.
and everything.
Ah,
But
but there's a but.
but the problem is like the story of Ghost of Tsushima is that you're a samurai. Uh, Actually, in this time, it's the 13th century, like sometime in the 1200s, the Kamakura period. If you're brushed up on your Japanese history, sometime in the Kamakura period, the Mongols tried to invade Japan from neighboring Korea.
Mhm.
The first stop along the way was Tsushima, and the Mongols basically just go in and take over everything. And you're one of the samurai feudal lords,
Mhm.
I guess, who are trying to basically take control of the island back from the Mongols.
Uh huh.
Um, so you're basically like, yeah, a feudal lord in a sense. So if you're a feudal lord of this area of this island, like shouldn't you have like a bit of knowledge about the area already? I mean, why do you even need to have like why is your map even like not filled up in some areas? Like I can understand if the entire map was not filled out
Mhm.
because I don't know, maybe you stick to your patch of land. But then why is the entire map like fogged out? Like and I like that there are certain landmarks that okay, the castle is here. That's marked clearly on your map
Mhm.
even at the start of the game before you go anywhere.
Uh huh.
Like there's a village here in the northwest corner. There's a village in the southeast corner, and that's fine because
Mhm.
like as a person who's lived on the island, you would have knowledge that okay, some this village lies somewhere to the west of that or something.
Uh huh.
But really, the area around the castle, you don't like it's completely fogged out. Like you should know that. Like I don't know. Like it's like I like I'm just asking these like clueless gamer kind of questions because bec- because sometimes it just boggles my mind.
Yeah,
And
it's he's
and
probably a hikikomori shut in. He's just playing video games all day.
uh, and it's like and probably like the best answer to that would probably be because it's fog of war, so it's like maybe things have changed because he doesn't know like what happened during the war, like when the Mongols took over.
Got
But that's like
amnesia.
but but that's just like a day. That was just yesterday. Like the Mongols just invaded yesterday, and suddenly I don't know what shape the entire island is. Uh,
That's confusion to the
uh,
next level.
yeah.
Oh my, I'm
Uh,
confused.
but
Oh.
and then what else was there? Um, there's the thing with um the Japanese dubbing. The Japanese dubbing is really really good because of course it's a samurai. It's a samurai game.
Mhm.
I'd like to have Japanese dubbing, and the Japanese dubbing is really really good.
But.
So Jin Sakai is
Mhm.
voiced by Zoro, like and Masamune Date.
Oh my
So
goodness.
the same guy we were talking about yesterday. Yeah.
I did not know
So
that.
yeah. So yeah, he's legit samurai voice actor,
Hmm.
and it's really good. Like a lot of the words that they use for the dialogue is very old Japanesey.
Hmm.
So it's like
Does he go de
what's a
Gozaru as
specific?
well and stuff?
No, not like that's the thing that surprised me. He doesn't do like a very archaic form of that. But um it's very natural in a way.
Hmm.
But for example, they use words like shucks, what was that? Like he doesn't say bushi for a warrior. He says something like momofuku or
Hmm.
something.
Oh, Momofuku.
Um, yeah, he uses like a very and the way they speak is very much in line with how with their station. Like um, there's nothing weird like this. Like if he talks to a merchant, for example, the
Hmm.
merchant talks in a very humble tone, but
Hmm.
he talks in a but Jin talks in a normal tone,
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, that's actually really good. And
Hmm.
then when he talks to his, there's a side mission that where he you go to his sensei,
Hmm.
the sensei that you don't know the where his dojo is, even though you studied under him, and it and his dojo isn't appearing on your map, and you have to go to the town and ask for directions to his dojo, even though you studied under him. But uh, let's leave that topic. But um, he goes to his sensei. When he talks to his sensei, he talks to his sensei in a very humble tone.
Hmm.
So it's clear that they made a lot of made sure to get that right.
Hmm.
But the lip syncing does not match up with the Japanese dub
Yep.
for some reason. And and uh and there are still like some weird things going on. Like we've thought we've like it's been spread out on the internet like how the title screen absolutely does makes a laughable uses laughable Japanese. Like basically Google translated Japanese is on the title screen,
Hmm.
where new game is translated as atarashi game,
Hmm.
which yeah, it's like new game, but it means new in the sense that you're going to buy a new game or you're going to play a different game. It doesn't necessarily mean um, it's you're starting a game from the start. So most Japanese games would have hajime kara, which
Hmm.
is from the start,
Hmm.
to signify that you're going to start a new game. Uh,
Does
and
Atarashi
that's
have the
like
same concept as something like Hajime? I mean, yeah, Hajime Mashite, something like that, like for the first time,
uh,
or
no, atarashi
Atarashi is
means
more like
brand
fresh,
new. Yeah,
like
yeah, like
fresh.
yeah, yeah. It could be if you were to translate it, yeah, it's probably more like new or fresh, like brand new.
Brand new
Like
car.
yeah, like I guess it's like if you did it in Tagalog, it's like it'd be like um bagong laro,
Bagong
which
laro.
yeah, it's like bagong laro, which is translates to new game, but yeah, the connotation there is that it's not the same. It's not the same laro, right? It's like uh
Hindi, it's not like simula.
yeah,
Magsimula.
yeah,
It's more like
yeah. It's
bagong
like from
laro.
yeah, it's like it like if you say bagong laro, it denotes freshness,
Yeah.
as we were talking about
Brand
freshness.
new.
Um, yeah, it doesn't signify that you're going to start this game from the start.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it would be probably be better to say uh uh mula sa simula,
Yeah.
from in Tagalog,
Mm.
right? So it's the same thing. So it's like, yeah, it's weird, but it's like, this is probably revenge for all the years that Japanese have butchered English in games. Like, a winner is you. Like,
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. So yeah, let's just think of it that way.
Yep.
Uh oh, and there's a very interesting thing that they did with the whole. Well, let's put that aside for now. Let's focus on the positives. Um, the the game is the game graphics look technically very good.
Hmm.
It's like, on a purely technical level,
Hmm.
they're very it's very well crafted.
Hmm.
Like the faces of the characters look realistic.
Yep.
Uh, armor is detailed. Like unlike Horizon Zero Dawn, like the water reacts to Jin's footsteps and interacts with the things.
Hmm.
But
But.
but I do not like the art direction that they did.
Hmm.
Um,
Which one?
so uh, like a lot of things.
Hmm.
Um, remember before in Zelda. Okay, let's start with the guiding wind mechanic.
Uh huh.
The guiding wind, like, that's a very that I actually like that mechanic, even though I don't like the way that they call it the guiding wind. Very mystical. Um, but the guiding wind, the wind mechanic is used here as a way to guide you to your next destination
Ah.
without relying on the minimap.
Hmm.
So you don't keep opening up the minimap, or you don't have like a beacon of some sort
Hmm.
in the distance. Uh, what you do is you pay attention to you set a waypoint, pay attention to the wind, and the wind will basically, whatever direction the wind is going, that's where you go.
Mm. That's
So
actually pretty good.
yeah, so it's
Genius.
like, even,
That's genius.
yeah, even so, if you like spot a waypoint and then you wander around, do something, then, oh yeah, where was I going? You just observe the wind, and then, okay, you go there.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go further into that,
Hmm.
remember before when people were freaking out that that Zelda, the when the Wind Waker came out,
Hmm.
uh, because it was a cartoony style, not like the previous trailer that they did, which was a more realistic, quotes, open quotes,
Yep.
um, Zelda,
Hmm.
and then Wind Waker just went basically
Full
all,
cartoon.
yeah, full cartoon. And but if you played it, because the wind plays a big role
Hmm.
in how you in that game,
Hmm.
so it made sense to me that you do a cartoony style,
Hmm.
because then you can do like the wind gusts,
Hmm.
like visible wind gusts, like in uh like like the way you do in cartoons, or in
Comics.
yeah, in manga or
Uh-huh.
stuff, where you basically visually show the wind,
Hmm.
instead of like, because technology at the time couldn't like do a lot of particles or everything, and
Yep.
then you were on the ocean most of the time, so you had to do waves,
Uh-huh.
and the GameCube wasn't powerful enough to do realistic waves, so to show the wind, so they just basically caricatured everything, and it made it look convincing.
Uh-huh.
So so I understood why they went with a cartoony style.
Uh-huh.
Now, because the wind plays such a big role in Ghost of Tsushima, you also. they also did like a lot of particle effects for the wind.
Yep.
So leaves, the grass,
Mm-hmm.
dust, dust clouds flow up. But then they also put in like the visible gust of wind. So it like it breaks my mind because you have this a realistic character, this realistic person, and then you're in a world that tries to be realistic,
Mm-hmm.
but then you have like visible gusts of wind, and it's very distinct from a dust cloud.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a dust cloud, you'll know it's a dust cloud, and then you'll look a few seconds later, and then there'll be a visible gust of wind, like just a visible white line showing you where you're supposed to go, like visible white lines, like not just one line, multiple lines.
My
And that
goodness.
like okay, okay, this isn't working for me. Like it's not a very consistent art style. And then like people like keep showing all the fancy colors, like, oh, look at these beautiful colors,
Mm-hmm.
like um the landscape is filled with fields of flowers, then trees that are um the trees that um are always in orange or yellow hues,
Mm-hmm.
so it looks like autumn all
Yep.
the
Yep.
time, and it's really beautiful the first time you see it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to see it all the time, and it's like it reminds me of those videos that play when you walk into an appliance store and you look at all the TVs they're selling, and they're selling and they're showing you these videos with all these bold colors,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, and your brain is like, okay, there's no way that's real life, because they're obviously like um enhancing the image so that it um makes the colors pop out more,
Yep.
like it makes the colors more noticeable. And that's how it feels to me. It's like, oh, look at all these colors, look at these 10,000 leaves that are falling from this tree. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
where is this tree getting all these 10,000 leaves? And like and sometimes that's what it feels like. It feels like a very much an HDR TV commercial. And it takes me out because um it immediately makes, we were talking about how the initial trailers made it feel like an uncanny valley,
Mm-hmm.
where they were trying so hard to capture like Japanese landscape that they went too overboard,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't feel real anymore.
Yep.
Like that's how it feels to me. It's like you've got realistic characters in fairly realistic armor, and then you've got this landscape that looks incredibly fantastic,
Mm.
that it goes too much into fantasy, that it's sort of like so it
So,
doesn't sit right with
so
me.
in a way, it's like Wakanda-sizing Africa in some way.
uh Kind of, yes.
Yeah. By the
but
way,
but
if you have Disney Plus, watch Black is King. Really, really good. It's
that's kind of like
Wakanda-sizing.
it. So
Hmm.
um so I think if I saw this in, if like the characters looked a bit less realistic,
Hmm.
then it would make more sense to me. Like it'll make it fit better with the world. Like because the characters are all gritty and
Hmm.
dirty and
Hmm.
like scruffy, but then the world is like, wow, it's really clean and neat and beautiful and like uh.
They
So
should have gone with the
um
Sumiya style. I think it would have worked better.
uh, yeah, but Sony doesn't like that.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't work well. It doesn't work well with what they want for entertainment, but whatever. So I always compare it to like Witcher 3. Like
Hmm.
Witcher 3's got characters that don't look that realistic,
Hmm.
but the way it portrays its world is like it's still a fantasy world, but it feels more authentic than what
Mhm.
I see in Ghost of Tsushima. In because in like Witcher 3, there are like dirt roads. The dirt roads there are really like dirty. the like the fields of flowers there are like much more in line with how you'd expect it to work in real life.
Mhm.
It's like no great contrast of colors
Mhm.
with the trees and everything. So it feels more naturalistic, even though like so in my eye, Witcher 3 looks better in terms of art direction,
Mhm.
if only because everything like works, like all the elements sort of like work better together.
Mhm.
So yeah, so so it
So in a way,
so
this
it's like
is kind of like how can we put it? Art direction is like what my father said about Blade of the Immortal. He could not actually stick to one medium, so he sometimes it's pencil, sometimes it's watercolor, sometimes it's just plain old pencil. I don't know,
yeah,
or ink. Yeah.
depending on what tone you want to get from your images, right?
Mhm.
So
So yeah.
yeah, so um it's like overall art direction is like the the tone of the style that you want to achieve.
Hmm.
And even though like Ghost of Tsushima looks really good in a technical level, like I can say, oh, like all these particles, yeah, that's good.
Hmm.
But I don't like the way that all this like it doesn't feel like it has a coherent style to
Hmm.
me. It's like, are you trying to be realistic or a bit fantastic? And it doesn't gel well together. So, oh, but the one thing I would like to complain about in terms of technical stuff is that the camera doesn't make objects transparent, like when you move around.
Hmm.
So, so there's like this mechanic called the standoff,
Hmm.
where you call out enemies, and then they like you face them first one on one,
Hmm.
and then you do like uh,
EI strikes.
yeah, you do like EI strikes, like
Hmm.
you wait for whoever makes the first move, and then you like whoosh, whoosh, you
Hmm.
slash.
Yep.
So so I've not failed a standoff
Hmm.
because it's easy enough to predict when they'll attack.
Hmm.
The only time I've failed a standoff is because like
There was a
there was
tree blocking it or something.
yeah, there was an there no, we were in tall grass,
Oh,
like in
okay.
really tall grass. And I couldn't see like, okay, what's happening. And this enemy in particular was the first time I encountered this enemy,
Hmm.
so I didn't know like the audio cue or anything yet because it was the first time. So I was like, oh, was he gonna attack now or no? No. So I failed that because I couldn't see anything because all I could see was grass. So that's not that's probably the only complaint I have technically.
Hmm.
Uh, well, that's not related to the art direction, but but the fast loading is really fast. The
Mm.
the like, the, the fast travel is really fast. It's like super fast. Like the, that that's one thing I'll
Super
give it
crazy
credit for.
fast.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, a lot of that's a lot of the positives like
Hmm.
say about Ghost of Tsushima. So
Okay.
if you just look at it as an open world game,
Hmm.
then it's fine.
Hmm.
A lot of the complaints I have with it are basically around everything else. like like this is gonna be like a long kind of rant, but
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
uh but I don't know if people are gonna be interested in it because um a lot of the things that I don't like about Ghost of Tsushima are things that are um basically if you know a little about the Japanese history and are bothered if something is inaccurate, then a lot of little things are gonna bother you here.
Mhm.
And it's like I have um first off the setting itself in Tsushima
Mhm.
is basically like the events of the Mongol invasion in Tsushima are fairly minor in
Mhm.
the grand scheme of Japanese history. It's like it's basically, yeah, the Mongols just tore through the island, then they went on to the mainland to Kyushu, where they got hit by a typhoon and the entire fleet sank. So so that's pretty much what happened in real life. But here is like, no, there was actually this guy in Tsushima. Like, okay, yeah, like you can take liberties with the historical stuff,
Mhm.
but sometimes I wonder, like, why make it in Tsushima to begin with? Like, it's like in Assassin's Creed 2, they they set it in a very specific time. Like
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed 2, they set it in Renaissance Italy because, oh, I think that would be an interesting thing because
Mhm.
a lot of inventions came about in Renaissance Italy. A lot of
Yep.
developments in terms of Western culture
Mhm.
came about because of the events in the Renaissance, and then they made sure that, okay, they made sure that Ezio
Mhm.
was in Venice
Mhm.
at around the same time as, for example, Leonardo da Vinci,
Mhm.
so he could like interact with Leonardo da Vinci.
Mhm.
So, and Leonardo da Vinci is a significant historical figure. So
Yep.
there's automatic interest in making sure that a portion of Assassin's Creed 2 is set in Venice at this specific point in time.
Mhm.
But in like Ghost of Tsushima, it's like, yeah, you're setting it Tsushima in the period of the Mongols, but uh, one, you're basically not that at this time it was the Abira clan who
Mhm.
was in charge of Tsushima,
Uh-huh.
and I don't think the Abira clan is referenced at all in Ghost of Tsushima.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, so you're not going for extreme historical accuracy,
Mhm.
and Tsushima is kind of like a weird place because it's like super rural. It's a super rural area,
Mhm.
and the only thing that might be of interest to foreigners would be like that it's uh it's close to Korea.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like it's like it's like let's be honest. Like, what did we know about Tsushima before Sony announced Ghost of Tsushima? Like, basically nothing,
Yep.
because because uh, there was really not much major interesting. There was really not much of interest that happened in Tsushima at that time.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, so why did you choose this in the first place? Like, why? Like, it asks the question, why did you choose this setting in particular with this specific historical event, and you're not going to say anything about it? I don't know. But then, and then they said, okay, but we're actually trying to make a samurai movie. Okay, making a samurai movie. Okay. so so basically that also makes me wonder even more. Like, so what was the point of setting it in Tsushima in the first place?
More stuff happened in
Like,
Tanegashima Island.
like you could have set it there with the advent of the rifles,
Yep.
and that would have made an interesting story with
Mhm.
the because in Ghost of Tsushima, like many other samurai movies, big part of the plot is like him, Jin,
Mhm.
wrestling with his sort of like his code of honor,
Uh-huh.
which
Which didn't
and
exist
then
that
trying
time.
to figure, yeah, which kind of okay, like he's trying to discern whether the actions that he'll take are compliant with his own code or not. And a lot of samurai movies are very dependent on that inner monologue
Uh-huh.
to advance the conflict. And like that would have been an interesting conflict where he's a samurai, but
Uh-huh.
he discovers rifles, and then he like, ah, is this going to is this something that dishonors my code, my honor, my code of honor, or something like? But here in Ghost of Tsushima, the way they present it is like, I'm gonna assassinate someone. Oh, but that's dishonorable because you're not fighting face to face. And he basically wrestled this story like for like 2 minutes. Like 2 minutes is as much as they're going to give with it, with his struggle,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a mission early on, like one of the first quest lines that you have to do to advance the plot is you have to earn the like stealth,
Mm-hmm.
the first stealth skills that you
Yep.
need. And in that first quest, which you'll do in like the first hour or so,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be like, uh, the the woman who tries to get you to rescue her brother is like, there are too many Mongols. We'll
Mm-hmm.
have to use stealth to take them all out. And Jin is like, no, I will not use stealth. That's dishonorable. I will not break my code. And the woman's like, no, you don't need to break your code. Just bend your code a little, because it's more important to be able to save the lives of the villagers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, okay, we'll do it after dark. We'll wait until dark and then we'll do it. And then the camera cuts to like nighttime, and I'm like, that's it. Like that's all he needed. Like what was that?
It's
And
like
and he's like,
Code of the Pirates. It's more like guidelines.
and he's like, and he's like, what the heck? So what I would have done to improve that was that after he says, let's wait until dark, like, and then leave me alone. Like I need to take care of something,
Mm.
and then you spend like some amount of time like reflecting on your code, like doing, I don't know, like going to a hot spring or something and reflecting like, okay, like if I'm going to do this, am I breaking my code or of honor or something, blah 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 blah. And then you come back like after a 5 minute cutscene or something, and then he's like, okay, I've made up my mind that I need to do this because saving villagers is part of my code. Like saving the innocents is part of my code, and I will have to honor that part of my code, regardless. Stuff like that. Like like that's the thing that makes samurai movies interesting, right?
Yep. Yep.
Like not like not just the slash 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 stab stab thing.
Yeah, the
Like
thing here is
that's
he's not a Ronin. He's actually a samurai with
yeah
with
yeah
an actual lord. So
yeah. and
apparently,
and
yeah, it's not hard.
and I
It's
think
actually hard to break his code if that's the case.
yeah, and I think they do, because I sort of spoiled myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they sort of touch upon that later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, you break the code very easily in the first part of the game,
Why
and then
don't you
and then
break
you
the
do
code?
like
Okay.
and then and then and then the when you do your first stealth kills,
Mm-hmm.
it's like after you do your first stealth kills, like boom, like you do a flashback to like do a flashback to like your uncle telling you that we do not kill people without looking at their faces or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time you do a first stealth, what then like all throughout the game when you do a stealth kill, you get these flashbacks, these random flashbacks, and that's part. And then you say, "I'm sorry, uncle." Slicing someone's neck or something. so, so it's kind of awkward the way they implemented it. And then the funny thing is, like, after that, after you go and stealth kill everybody, and then you
Mm.
exit that village, and then the woman who asked you to rescue the villagers looks at you and says, "I'm sorry for making you break your code." Like, wow, wow. Now you feel remorse after making me do that. Like, I didn't have a choice, you know.
At least you could
Eh,
have been given a choice in the game if you want to face
Yeah, yeah,
them
yeah,
straightforward and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, and that's like that was a big part of the marketing too.
Hmm.
It's like you can choose to either fight honorably or sneak around as a ghost. But actually, we won't give you a choice. You'll have to sneak around for at least one mission, and that will make you dishonorable forever.
At least,
So it's like,
at least
what
Infamous had the
the heck?
choice. Either you
Yeah,
go
yeah,
evil or
yeah,
you go nice and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and as like at any given time, you were not forced to do one path or the other.
yep.
But here, you're forced to do it. but 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 that's not like the worst part. Like, so I think I think one of the worst part is the haiku.
Hmm.
Like, so I think we mentioned previously that haikus did not actually exist at the time of the Kamakura.
Yep.
So
I think they
making
were made
haikus,
the 18th century
uh,
haikus and
yeah, seven,
yeah.
17, 17 type.
Uh,
So you at random points you sit on a spot, peaceful spot, and you compose your own haikus. And it's like really stupid haikus. And then you get like a headband, like a cosmetic headband. So it's like, so what was the point? What was the point of all this? Like, I I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, why would you make me compose haikus, like bad haikus, just for a headband? A headband that does nothing. It's a cosmetic headband. With my bad haiku, like like written on the headband. Like, oh man, now you have to remind me of my haiku every time I go into the inventory screen. It's like it's like the way you do the haikus here is like you look at something, like you look at something, you compose a 5 syllable stanza,
hmm.
then the viewpoint switches. You look at another thing, then you compose another seven
Seven
syllable
syllable.
stanza, and then and then the viewpoint changes. You look at another thing, and then you make another 5 syllable stanza.
What the heck are their haikus? And like, this is a headband. What a
uh,
headband. Headband? This is a
no, no,
headband.
no, no, no. Well, it's worse than that because it's trying to be poetic. Like you look at it's like the first one I looked at was like a bunch of yellow trees,
Mm,
yellow maple trees. Like,
mm,
well, I don't no, it's not maple tree, but it's a yellow tree. I forgot what kind of tree it
mhm.
was. You look at it, and it's like a golden temple. Like, okay, okay, it's like 5 syllables. Okay,
Mhm.
fine, but those are trees. So in case you don't know about haikus, like haikus are supposed to be very literal.
Mhm.
So it would have been better to like two golden trees or something. Uh, but no, they choose a golden temple. Like, and then
Probably
so
in his
and
mind it's
then
like genius.
yeah. So it's like some of the commenters on the internet are saying like it's my head canon that Jin is actually a terrible poet and he's trying his best, but he's just failing.
Uh,
But the funny thing here is that if you switch to the Japanese voices,
mhm,
the Japanese voices don't like. At first, I was like, wait, why isn't he following the like 575 rule?
mhm,
Uh, because when I chose the last stanza,
mhm,
he was like saying one complete sentence,
mhm,
and then I found out it's like they weren't actually composing haikus. He was composing like waka, which
mhm,
is poetry in general. So
mm.
he's actually just composing poems in Japanese. So I was like, oh, so maybe that's why the Japanese didn't find this lame. because he wasn't actually composing haikus in Japanese.
They actually fixed it.
Which makes me even more like irritated that in English you compose bad haikus. Like, at least just let me do like a bad regular poem. Just call it freestyle. I'm freestyling, yo.
It doesn't rhyme because it's called freestyle.
Yeah, and then there are spots there where you go to hot springs, and then you enter the hot spring, and then you like get you increase your health bar.
Mhm.
So okay, that's fine. That's a very open worldy thing to do. But then when you get into the hot spring, you get the option. You have to reflect on something. Like the first hot spring you get into, you reflect on either your father or your uncle, depending on which you choose. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? Why are you forcing me to reflect? I mean, just can't just get rid of that. Like, what does that reflecting imply? Like, oh, because I'm Japanese, so it has to be a Zen kind of thing. Like can't you just like me show me just sitting in the hot spring
Like
and doing
Monster
nothing?
Hunter.
That would be the most Zen thing ever. Like nothing, like no talking, no nothing, no internal monologue, like just me in the hot spring.
Yeah, that's basically Zen. It's
Yeah, it's
nothingness.
like
Diba?
yeah. So why are you making me reflect on this crap? Like,
That's the
so
concept on Ryu's style on Ansatsuken. It's nothingness.
yeah,
So yeah.
and then it's like yeah, a lot of little things like that. It's a very stereotypically Western view of Japan,
Hmm.
which sort of irritates me. And then there's like foxes. Like you can go to fox shrines, and when you have enough fox shrines, like you level up a charm, so
Hmm.
you can hold more charms. Charms are like accessories you can equip to get like up your stats or something. But actually, there are no foxes on Tsushima.
Hmm.
So, like the actual Tsushima Island, there's like the Tsushima Wildcat,
Hmm.
which is like, and I'm like, why did you just put the Wildcat in? It's like you went to Tsushima, you should have known about the Wildcat. Like, why did you put a fox in there?
The thing
Like,
I have a problem is they probably have a Japanese advisor or something.
yeah, it's like Sony, they're owned by Sony, so they probably have somebody Japanese. But it's like I'm worried that like the Japanese person might be like, "Oh, you're trying to do this. Oh, okay. That looks fine. That looks fine." And then there's like the most egregious of all. I think it's Kurosawa mode. It's like,
They
man,
had to involve Kurosawa.
like okay, I get it. Like they want to pay homage to Kurosawa,
Mhm.
but an allusion, an homage should not call attention to itself. And it's like you just made the entire thing black and white,
Mhm.
and it's like you made it black and white. Okay, that's fine because a lot of Kurosawa's movies are black and white, but you don't include a lot of the things that make Kurosawa movies Kurosawa movies. It's like there are not a lot of crowds.
Mhm.
This is one of the things that I was mentioning before, where it feels like Assassin's Creed, but it doesn't exactly feel like Assassin's Creed
Mhm.
because, for example, there are not a lot of crowds,
Mhm.
and like Assassin's Creed trademark is the
The
crowds of
crowds.
people, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Right? Yeah, and it doesn't feel like that. Like there's only like only a handful of people, like maybe 5 or 6 people on screen at any given time.
Mhm.
And if you watch like Kurosawa's movies always have big crowds. Like,
Yep.
ugh. So it's like, this doesn't feel right. So it's like, and then there's the way that Kurosawa moves the camera, the way he cuts,
Mhm.
the way his stories are made. Like those are all not reflected in the game. So it's like basically Kurosawa mode is the most superficial homage I can think of to 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 Kurosawa. It's like if you made Cuphead, if the Cuphead developers made a black and white filter mode and then called it Fleischer mode, like I would have been annoyed. Like no, like I don't think that's exactly how it works because Fleischer did a lot of rotoscoping
Hmm.
as well, and yeah, he made the bendy hose arms look,
Yep.
but then if you just made it black and white and call it Fleischer mode, it's like that's kind of like it's not supposed your reference is not supposed to call attention to itself, right?
Hmm.
So it's like so it's like and that would have been more authentic than what they did here with Kurosawa mode.
Hmm.
But uh, that's just probably me being a snob. It's like, yeah, but
Well, they could have just called it a black and white filter and let the people decide for themselves
yeah,
what to
yeah,
call it.
yeah, exactly. Like that would have been much better
If the
because
people
it would
called
have
it the
been,
Kurosawa mode because it's the people that spoke, then yeah, it's a Kurosawa mode now.
yeah, yeah. It's like it just feels so pretentious,
Yeah.
is what I'm gonna say.
Basically, what
And
it's like that Michael Jordan interview. What actually makes you a legend? It's not you that makes you a legend. It's the people think that you're a legend. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So
So yeah, like yeah. Overall, if you're just a very surface level kind of uh if you want an Assassin's Creed that's set in Japan, like, yeah, maybe Ghost of Tsushima will work for you. It's
mhm,
like it hits a lot of the same feels as Assassin's Creed. Like it was a lot of the same vibe,
mhm,
but not everything. So it just doesn't have the crowds. Like, but the way you stealth is very Assassin's Creed like. The way
mhm,
you stealth kill, the way
mhm.
you like a lot of those things. But and if you just want a shallow samurai game, you know, it's a think of it as a Hollywood blockbuster samurai thing.
Oh,
So
that
don't
actually
think,
fits it. Hollywood
yeah,
blockbuster samurai.
yeah, because the very because it fails at the one thing that samurai fans want to like like if you're a samurai movie fan, you'll probably feel disappointed in this in at least some way.
Mhm.
Like if you're a serious samurai movie fan, especially because you can't cut down bamboo. You're
You can cut
like
bamboo
it
though in a minigame.
in a mini game like that and that shucks, what does that do? It strengthens your resolve,
Hmm.
like your basically your health meter. And but if you come up on a bamboo grove and you slash something, like you expect bamboo to fall, it's like nope, not happening. Like and you just want like it's the one thing you kind of expect. Uh,
Especially
but
if
that
you've
is
seen a lot of samurai movies. That usually
yes,
happens.
yeah. Like, you want like a slash and then the bamboo will slowly fall down. It's like, oh man, it's like how can you not get that aesthetic right? It's like, and that's actually one of my biggest complaints with Sony open world games in general. It's like,
Mhm.
they're very pretty to look at, but if you try to interact with the world in a meaningful way, it just doesn't feel right. It's like looking at the painting in a museum. It's like you can't like look but don't touch.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same problem I have with Horizon. Oh, and then I just remembered something.
Hmm.
Like it also uses the same trope as Horizon, where it's
Hmm.
like you can only hide stealthily in tall grass that's a specific color.
Hmm.
Like yeah,
Really?
like yeah,
Oh
like
my goodness.
this type of white grass is the only grass where you can hide stealthily. So if you're following someone, you gotta hide in this specific white patch of white grass. And if you move to even if your head is exposed, as long as you're in that white grass, you're fine. And then if you move like to taller grass, like grass, the grass, the same grass that I was complaining about with the standoff, where I couldn't see anything
Hmm.
because it was really tall.
Hmm.
But the person you're following like looks at you. even if you're in that tall grass, they'll see you, they'll detect you, and like yeah, because you're not in the white patch of grass, the stealth grass.
Stealth grass.
Yeah, and it's like it's the same problem with the with Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like
Mm.
come on, it's like that like that doesn't make sense.
But in terms
But
of recommendations to this game, how do you rate it? Like, how can we put this? A double toasted method. Is it?
I rate it higher than Horizon Zero Dawn,
Mhm.
but about on the same level as Marvel Spider-Man. So a rental.
Rental? Go rental.
High rental.
Okay.
No. Maybe a low matinee. Yeah, a low matinee. Like yeah, a low matinee. If you can get it for like $20,
Mhm.
oh yeah, go for it.
Anyway, regarding samurai games, if you really want a really, really good samurai game, there's a game called Way of the Samurai 4
Oh yeah.
specifically. And it's a very slow game though. It starts very slow, but once you've finished it several times, it's a really fun game. There was one situation there, like because I think it was the British. They were already in Japan during that time. So there were
Mm.
British soldiers all over. So they were making fun of me. Hey, samurai boy, show me your sword and stuff like that. So they were mocking me. So I took out a pistol. That's not a sword. that, it's really fun. So yeah, I highly suggest that game. So yeah,
Uh,
probably there's a part two to this conversation because we're going to need the view of the two people who enjoyed it the most. So yeah,
oh yeah.
we, we
Gotta have something to counteract all my grumpiness.
yeah, so we'll get the perspective of the two fanboys, two fanboys. Okay, so
No, they're just not as snobby as I am.
yep, they just love games as it is. So yeah. Uh, Last subject here is actually very quick. It's just got something to do with the Xbox Game Showcase and the state of play, and what you thought about it. So basically,
Uh,
I guess I'll start because I've got the shortest comments ever. So
yep.
Xbox actually had Halo on it, and it did show gameplay. Although it's PC footage, so I didn't really see the capabilities of the Series X, so it was fine. The thing I really liked about the showcase is everything that you saw in that showcase would be going to Game
Coming to Game
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah, so
Yep. Big deal.
if
That's
you
a big deal.
very big deal, especially if you're on a budget and you only have an Xbox, or if you're planning to get an Xbox Series X, and basically spent it all on that console and you just have like $20 left, you can get Game
Mhm.
Pass and get a ton of games on that system. It's kind of worth it. So yeah, and the last thing they announced was Fable. So yeah, Fable, yeah, it's back. I love Fable. So yeah, I hope this is a good Fable game. Um, like the previous ones. Then State of Play. State of Play was okay. It's nothing groundbreaking, and they did announce that there's no PS5 announcements, so they already set the bar a little lower. And good thing about this one is they didn't hype it up, so it's what you'd expect. They just announced a lot of games, although they did focus on some that's not really that exclusive to the system, and it took quite a long time.
Well,
Yeah.
neither of them showed anything like. Well, I think Microsoft showed more exclusive.
No, yeah,
in a sense.
especially the world premiere. World-
Yeah,
I hate that
I love that
voice.
guy. I love that voice.
World premiere. Bing. Xbox exclusive.
Uh,
Every time,
yeah,
just have to hear that
but yeah,
voice.
yep.
Anyway,
Yeah, he's the mascot.
yeah? What's your
He's the
concept
mascot.
on? What's your comments on the two presentations? Which one did it better? Were they the same level? What's your take on it?
Um, well, in terms of hmm. well, in terms of what game they chose to showcase, like Xbox started with Halo,
Mhm.
PlayStation started with Crash Bandicoot. So I have to give that to Halo,
Mhm.
to to Microsoft.
Yep.
So because I'd rather watch like 5 minutes of Halo than 5 minutes of Crash Bandicoot. Uh, but that's just me.
That's a personal opinion.
Um, yeah, but overall, I think Microsoft announced a lot more games.
Mhm.
And actually, that was one of my concerns with, like, every time they do an E3 presentation, they have a lot of games to show, because I think because they're trying to remove the preconception that Microsoft doesn't have games. That the Xbox doesn't have games.
Mhm.
Xbox doesn't have games, so they try to cram as many games as they can into a presentation.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think that it suffers because, like, a lot of the trailers were just CG trailers or
Mhm.
teaser trailers. Like Stalker 2 was just a teaser trailer,
Yep.
and it's like some of the trailers also showed, like, that the games are only coming to the Series X,
Mhm.
not the Xbox One,
Mhm.
which is, like, weird, considering that Microsoft said that they promised uh, any first party games coming out within the next 2 years or so would be also coming to the Xbox One.
Mhm.
And so it's either the games that they showed today, like in the, well, not today, but in the presentation, were mostly not going to be not going to be released in 2 years, except for Halo.
Mhm.
uh or they're not gonna come out on Xbox One at the same time,
Probably.
which is, not good, but I don't know. But on the PlayStation side, the problem I had was that a lot of the games were not things I was interested in. I think the most, like, like what was there, like, the Genshin Impact
Oh
was
yeah,
probably the
Genshin Impact.
only
Yeah.
thing that I remember. But I knew about Genshin Impact for, like, a long time, because I've been following it for, like, the past year or so.
Oh yeah, we would
Uh,
definitely get it on the Switch.
Switch, yeah, I'll definitely get it on the Switch. Um, and then um, I'm struggling to remember, like, what other games there were. Uh, they did show Godfall a lot, though,
Mhm.
which I still don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, and the more they show of it, the more I'm confused as to what it is. Like, is it like a PvP looter shooter? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe. Is it an arena brawler? I don't know. But and even then, I'm not exactly, like, impressed with the art style. It's like very edgy. It's like it reminds me of late '90s games. So, like, yeah, very edgy. We're like edgy boys. Edgy boys that go slash slash. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. But, like, I can't even remember a lot of the things that they showed in the Sony presentation.
Mhm.
But, like, the Microsoft presentation, I found there were a lot of things that I was interested.
Mhm. Yeah. Basically, Xbox probably gave more stuff to us. Although,
Yeah,
yeah, they had more genres to be exact. That's why
yeah,
the
yeah,
Xbox was more interesting in a bit. Because if the genres that were shown in the PlayStation were not your kind of games, it's not that good of a presentation.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. Because a lot of the things, for example, there was like the whole uh, what was that? There were a lot of like adventure game kind of things,
Hmm.
like the one from Don't Nod. Oh shucks, I can't remember that name. Um, uh, oof, the one from the Life is Strange devs.
Oh, okay.
Shucks, I can't remember the name. But but I mean, I'm probably gonna play it anyway because it's
Hmm.
from the Life is Strange people.
Yep.
Um, and then there was that game As Dusk Falls,
Ah, yeah,
which
yeah.
looked like an adventure game, but it's all painted, like hand painted. That
That's
looked
interesting.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was Grounded, which is basically like uh sort of like State of Decay, but Honey I Shrunk the Kid style.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, and then Obsidian also showed Avowed, which is I guess their Skyrim
Hmm.
kind of thing. But then they also showed Psychonauts 2, which is a platformer,
Yep. Which
which
is
actually
now
looks
exclusive.
much better. Which actually looks a lot better than when I last saw it. So
Yep.
I'm actually more excited about it now. And then there was, and then they showed a bit of Forza 7. Well, not enough. Well, not 7, but not enough Forza.
Hmm.
so so
Forza
they got that.
Motorsport. I think they just removed
Yeah,
the number. It's now
yeah,
just
Forza Motorsport.
Forza Motorsport
Uh,
stuff.
yeah, and then there was Fable, which
Hmm.
is yeah,
Yeah.
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 So like overall, I think, and then the oh, what was that rare one? I can't remember the name of that rare one, but the one that
Rare.
looks yeah. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a rare
the
presentation as well.
the one that kind of looks like Ashen or Absolver or
Hmm.
something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's a very stylized look, and I think I like that. That's what I liked about the studios that uh Microsoft got. Is like they have the capacity to be more varied in terms of like the genres that and
Hmm.
styles that they release. So that's one of the reasons why I like that.
Everwild.
I
Everwild was
Yeah, Everwild.
the rare game. Yeah.
Yeah, Everwild.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Um, yeah, and then it's like Sony is gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna put more big budget AAA things, but yeah, um, like I think it was Sunil Legend who did that GIF of all the Sony AAA games. Like he made the GIF where it was like Aloy from Horizon
Hmm.
sort of blending into Kratos from God of War, sort of blending into Joel from The Last of Us, and
Hmm.
then blending into uh whatever. Like, and it's like people, if you see that, it's like, oh wow, that's cool the way he stitched that action so that it all blends into each other
Hmm.
across different games.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you look at it and it's like, yeah, it's like it's getting harder to sort of tell these Sony exclusives apart. like like they're all kind of like the same style of game. So it's like 3D action over the shoulder view
Sad game.
character action games. So it's like yeah, and then you got Microsoft with like Halo, Gears, which are both shooters, but at least one's first person, one then the other's third person. But then you got Double Fine with Psychonauts, which is like completely different from from either of those two. Then you've got Rare with Everwild, which is also completely different. And it's like, okay, like, I mean, yeah, and I think that reflected a bit in their presentations.
So yeah, if you don't like fun, get the PlayStation.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Hey, Druckmann said it himself. This game is not fun.
Then why
So
should I buy your game? You,
yeah,
ah,
but you
why should
know,
I?
people still find fun in really violent games. So
Yeah,
so
to each
yeah,
their own.
vision ruined for Druckmann.
Oh,
Uh,
well, I'll show you. I'm having fun right now. Yeah, I'm having fun stabbing this guy.
oh well. I guess that's it. So probably we'll get the part two of this one pretty
Yep,
soon, as long as the other two guys are available. Because
yep,
it's better if there's more perspectives on a subject, because it creates conversation. So yeah,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah. I
much
mean, don't
better.
listen to me. Don't don't listen to me. I'm just a pretentious snob
Everyone's
who's
pretentious in their
who's
own way.
who's incredibly biased against Sony.
Who's incredibly biased but has 3 PlayStation Vitas and 2 PlayStation Pros.
Yep, yeah. That's how you know I'm biased.
What a biased prick. Anyway, X-Men for Xbox. Whatever.
X for X. Yeah, let's
X
do it.
for
Hashtag X for
X.
X. Hashtag X
So,
for X.
yeah, that's all we have for today. And have a great day, guys. Happy gaming. And if you've got any subject you want to talk about, just send me a
Let us know in
Facebook.
the comments.
Let us know in the comments below. Like, there's
Be
like
sure,
one fan.
like, share, or subscribe. Be sure to like, share, subscribe.
Share and subscribe. Whatever that is. Okay, so have a great day, guys. Good
All
afternoon.
right,
Bye.
all right. See ya.